Committee. Continues to be a modest update at these kind of closeout meetings. We're continuing to go through closeout documentation and bring to resolution some of the remaining ATPs for the project. So not much by way of an update other than we're just kind of handling items that they come out from an items as they come up from an FF&E perspective. We've had a vendor on site fixing some of the punch list items over the last couple weeks with some additional follow-up upcoming. Other than that, we'll be able to speak to any of the ATPs. I think there are only two up for review and approval at today's meeting. Other than that, it's nothing new to report. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Justin? Hearing none, we'll move over to the CM report. Zach, I see you taking. Yep.
Good evening, everybody. Hope everyone's doing well. Similar updates to Justin. We have a handful of ATPs that are going to be reviewed this evening. And beyond those two, we have a couple additional day two items that are going to be presented to everybody later on in the month. We were receiving final pricing for a couple additional day two change items that came upon via a couple of RFIs after occupancy. So those will be submitted at the next meeting. However, tomorrow we're going to be back on site completing the PV work, the recent change order that was approved last month for the 2-inch conduit that will be installed on the roof adjacent to the other future power infrastructure conduits that are already up on the roof. Beyond that, we have some additional items occurring tomorrow on site as well, with some window film being installed in the admin office, another recent ATP that was approved at the prior SBC meeting. And then also we do have a couple of receptacles being installed in the media center. So beyond the day two change orders, we have less than 10 punch list items that are still open. All 7 of the open items are scheduled to be completed this November, and just still pushing to collect the last handful of closeout documents. We are less than 15 documents that need to be submitted at this point. So just a handful of warranties, O&Ms that still need to be provided by our subcontractors. Outside of that, no major updates at this time from us.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Moving on to Adam.
Good evening, everyone. Filling in the gaps here on other items. We've been as an adjacent task to some of the closeout documents that Zach was referencing. Also coordinating with BVH on Connecticut High Performance closeout. So that kind of becomes part and parcel with this. It's technically a pre-occupancy, but basically the submission that occurs, the letter and affirmations that occur at occupancy. There'll be another one that occurs after a year. So that is something that we'll have to regroup on as part of one of those lovely long-tailed tasks that occurs with these major building projects. But that's something we've had some discussions on, as well as the Eversource Path 1. That is with Eversource, and they're reviewing the model and closeout documentation there as part of the first big chunk payment that would come out of that effort. So that's underway. Justin referenced the furniture. Tangentially to that are the data and AV final installations. There were a couple of wireless access points that we're regrouping with the town and with Omni on in terms of finalizing those and ensuring that they're all set up and working through the town system. For the playground, we did receive an initial pay application from that vendor for most of their work, as evidenced by the kids playing on the equipment. That's substantially complete. There are some open documents and a couple of punch list items on their end as well. So we're looking at that, anticipating potentially submitting that big pay application to the SBC at the next meeting in November. And then Gilbane and Colliers, Zach and I will be meeting in not next week, but the week thereafter, to do a big chunk closeout of financials. We kind of referenced it at the last meeting, but I'm just kind of getting that on the books to go through all the open items and close out financial requests from the various subcontractors as part of this money coming back to the town from unused funds. So that's we got something on the books to actually get that cleaned up and submitted to the town for approval. With that, I think it runs down the items I wanted to go through.
Farhan,
Nope, I got Sharon.
I think Sharon's on a private call, so.
No.
She's our, she's our,
sorry, was I not muted? That wasn't for you. My husband walked in. Sorry.
no problem. You're gonna do the heavy lifting in a couple of minutes. We want to make sure you're around. So Adam, you want to move up next to item, the review of potential,
Yes, will do. So there are 2 ATPs for Gilbane and then 1 cleanup procurement item to resolve. ATP 147 is actually not a change order. It's a request for CM contingency use for $13,530. Per contract, anything under 5,000, Gilbane has the ability to use without pre-authorization within the scope of the work project, but anything over that needs committee approval. We've had a couple of these sporadically. This is for some work at the top of the translucent panels where installation of some of the AVB, when it was installed, it left some residue and it looked generally not great. So after some working through and trying to clean it up, trying to paint, there was the solution to make it a permanent long-term solution was some white painted wood trim to clean up that finalized detail. So again, not a change order. It's just CM contingency use request, and Tecton and Colliers have looked at it and don't take exception to the request. So that's what this item is. And then ATP 149 for $7,283. This is just the cleanup ATP to the pollinator pathway planting installation that was estimated at approximately 7,000. So right in line with the estimate where they ran through on actual submissions from the contractors. So it was pre-authorized on an expedited basis under that notion of being approximately 7,000. This is just the cleanup. So no real difference in terms of expected use of funds.
got it. And it was money well spent based on, actually putting a few of those in myself. So that was the best $6,900 we ever spent, because I'd still be out there if we didn't hire them.
That was going to take a long time. Yes.
Yes, it was. I was amazed when I went there the next day and it was done. So I was like,
and I'll just lump it together so I can show the motions at one time. There is a motion for to increase Omni's purchase order by $200. This is a quote that was previously approved, but to be honest, I had missed the second page. So when I made the authorization and the motion, I did it for this first value and I accidentally omitted the $200 in shipping. So adding that back in there so they don't exceed their PO when we pay this invoice potentially here in item number 6 of the agenda. So with that, I'll screen share the 3 motions.
would anyone like to make the motions?
Sure, I'll read them.
Thank you very much.
I make a motion to approve ATP 0147 to allow Gilbane to use CM contingency in the amount $13,530 for additional hardwood trim installation at translucent panels.
Do you have a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Make a motion to approve ATP 0149 for a change to Gilbane's existing construction contract in the amount of $7,283 for pollinator path plant installation.
Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Make a motion to increase Omni PO 2025556 by $200 to reflect shipping included on previously approved quote 022621.
Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Very good. Thank you all. And then the invoice packet for this meeting, invoice from Langen for Ryerson Hazmat Study. We have received their final documents. There's some additional last mile items while we were getting those final reports. I suspect there will be one or two more invoices because they're hunting down billing from some of the subcontractors to actually do some of the sampling. But that's what this invoice is. Meteor, who is the large furniture vendor, they've delivered the items in their $23,000 bill as of last week. So that's submitted for payment. And then two items that the invoices have been with the town for a while, and we just got them for network switch installation for $41,000 and $36,000 for a total of just over $103,000.
I'd like
Someone
to
like
make
to
a
make a
motion to
motion?
approve.
Go ahead,
Sorry,
Kelly.
I'd like to make a motion to approve invoice package dated 11/3/2025, including invoices from Langdon, Meteor, and Omni for a total amount of $103,332.07.
I'll
Do we have
second
a second?
that.
Thank you, Woody. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
All set with Adam? Moving on to number 7, public comments. Do we have any public?
We do not.
Moving on to item number 8, remarks. I just want to mention, I think I mentioned last time that our duties may extend a little farther, depending on the demolition of Ryerson, the need to demolish Ryerson. So we may have to hold tight a little bit. There's some excess funding, and there's a feeling that the Ryerson should be included on this project. We will have the money to demolish Ryerson, and it probably makes sense. We also desire to put the solar in, but that timing of that such we may need, that wasn't in the referendum, so that may needs to be done after the fact. The money coming back from the tax credits could probably pay for most of that, but we don't get that money. So it's long story short, it's a little complicated. In November, we're going to figure out where we are with the whole financings as we get closer to closing it out, and then we may extend our charge to be tasked with demolishing, assuming that is the direction we get from the town. So, any questions or concerns about that?
And I just want to just be clear on the process there.
Yep.
If that happens, it will be because the Board of Selectmen will have voted to extend our charter to include that, right?
Yeah, I think so. Our charge, it is, I looked at our charge that was not included in our charge. As you know better than you were, the referendum that was discussed, in the referendum wasn't necessarily in the call, but there's a perception that it should be in the $99 million. We will have that money to spend to demolish it, based on the, further testing we have. So it's just a matter of who does it, when it does. And obviously my good friend Woody is very much wants to get the solar on the project too. So, there's a lot of complicated, but the timing is going to be difficult. And it's not part of the project anyway. And we would have waited till next summer at the earliest to do that. So good
Thank
problems
you.
to have, just a matter of timing.
Yeah, thank you.
Yep. Any other remarks before we make a motion to adjourn?
Graham, if I could just pose the question, we had talked about in the previous committee meetings about potentially scaling back to 1 per month in the new year. We agenda or a schedule of regular meetings does need to be published, so I can draft that up with Raquel before the next meeting just to get that sort of checkbox done. I would think that even with the Ryerson or a potential Ryerson scope adjustment, it might make sense to do a monthly regular, and if there are special meetings needed for timing purposes to approve a contract or do whatever, that those can be scheduled. But wanted to ask that question now before we draft up a schedule and then have to do something different. So any thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, I think it makes sense. Maybe include, if we're gonna put the dates, maybe, do January, February, just to get the invoices out, just to have two, and then after that we go, monthly, unless there's some procedural thing that I'm like messing up with that. But I agree the monthly is probably fine. Whether we do the second meeting of the month, it lines up with the invoice, invoices. Yeah. Or maybe just do that, and then we'll just call special meetings if we have to process payments. I can't imagine anything is going to be so hot that we need to address it, but we'll have the ability to have a special meeting.
Okay, all right, so I'll set it up for monthly and then throughout 2026 and then the special meeting. All right, perfect.
Sure, we'll still be working on this come next Christmas after next, I'm sure, unfortunately. And maybe the one after that if we're not careful. But Monday nights are usually slow at my house, and other than it's basketball season now, so we gotta cut these off. Even more incentive to tighten up these calls. So, would anyone like to make a motion? Ellen, any other questions or comments? Would anyone like to make a motion to adjourn?
I'd be happy to.
You have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.